Romeo and Juliet was Leonardo's first role as a romantic lead, and his first experience playing Shakespeare. It was this film that sent him into the realm of Hollywood heartthrob.
Okay. Leonardo, good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Would you ever think, do you remember we sat in the middle of old Tucson on a dusty western street, and you were wearing two guns and for the quick and the dead? If I had said, Leonardo, in a couple of years, you're going to play Romeo, what would you have said?
I would have said, no way.
Well, Leonardo really was just a given. I saw his face in a magazine before I'd ever heard of him, and I went, oh, he looks like Romeo. And it said, that actor. And, well, what does that mean? And then, of course, the next month, I think he was nominated for an Academy Award for Gilbert Grape. Saw his work, met with him. And, you know, he travelled to Sydney twice, coach, sort of staying in, with his father, because he was so interested in the idea. And really, he's been a sort of a bit of a partner in making the film happen. It wasn't easy to get the film made.
And we go way back.
We do. A long time.
Yeah, this boy's life. And I know at that time you would have said, no way at all.
Well, it wasn't... this is an interesting thing because playing this Romeo is so much different than I think doing a traditional version of it, you know? That's the reason why I got excited about it. That's the reason why I wanted to do it, because it wasn't what we've seen 1,000 times before, you know? It wasn't the exact way of doing it. And I think that what Baz did to this movie was bring sort of a heightened reality and made this fantasy world that completely relates to the times we're going through right now, you know, with the violence and everything.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, my next question was, Leonardo, the concept, you know, when people hear it's Romeo and Juliet, you know, are we going to see the old costumes, and is it going to be set in ancient England? But it is different. It's modern day, right?
It's not necessarily modern day because you couldn't put this sort of story into any place in the world. It's a heightened reality, you know. It's I think what we're going through right now in sort of a very campish, loud sort of way. There's flamboyant costumes. I mean, we have drag queens, and we have guns, and we have cars. We have all these things, but it's a sort of this contained world which sort of represents. It's this sort of contained small place which represents so much, and I think that the story just completely clicks into it. And I don't think that. I mean, if Shakespeare were alive today, I think he'd agree that he wanted his stuff to sort of live on and sort of change and mold for the times, you know.
But yet, if you could listen to the soundtrack and not see the visual, much of it would sound like a play.
Yeah, well, we are speaking the bard. We are saying the same words, and it's the same story, and it's the same things that are exactly in the play, except that a lot of things are made a lot more clear, I think. I mean, I think the chemistry between the style and the design and the way of doing this movie just meshed completely well with the play. I mean, I think it was just like meant to be. I mean, as soon as I was there and I was working on it, I was like, wow, this really works. And as soon as I saw it, it takes you 2 minutes to adjust to what's going on. Then you're saying, wow, this really, you know, it needed to be like this.
And you know what else works? You do it not in the British accent, but in an American accent, which I think that adds to it. It makes the language clearer. And did you have any problems with speaking in that Shakespearean dialect, which is poetry?
To tell you the truth, I know that Shakespeare actually wrote some of his stuff for sort of the American way of saying things, you know, the American sounds, and a lot of that stuff was written that way, but it's always sort of ingrained in people's minds that if you're going to do Shakespeare, you know, put softwood light through yonder window breaks, that sort of thing. But a lot of it was written for the way we're doing it, and we have a lot of different accents, too. You know, we have this sort of Hispanic, you know, theme to it, too, with the Capulets are sort of all, you know, Latin.
John Leguizamo was...
Terrific.
Terrific, yeah, yeah. I'll guarantee you one thing. When we talk about another movie that you're doing 3 or 4 years from now, these are lines you'll never forget.
Absolutely not. I mean, it is the classic, you know, masterpiece of love stories, in my mind. You know, you can't get much better than this.
We mentioned John, but just a quick comment on some of the other cast?
Claire Danes, terrific. As soon as I saw her, I knew that she was the one to play Juliet, just because she had such an emotional intensity and she has a strong way of doing Juliet that hasn't been done before. Another young actor plays, actually older than me, but he plays Mercutio. His name is Harold Perrineau, and he does a fantastic Mercutio, and with a lot of other different, you know, Pete Postlewaite.
Just a great, Pete's terrific, just a great cast. As it ended, I thought, wow, don't miss Romeo and Juliet. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
If I got to play our interview for This Boy's Life.
Wow, I'd love to see it. Just to see how much I haven't changed.
Leo, good to see you.
I'm still a little punk. I want to see that.